Laura Krebsbach with Renewable Harvest, which is a not-for-profit organization that built the Renewable Harvest mobile meat processing trailer. And I come from an organization that for many, many years fought industrial agriculture, which is harmful to the land, the air, animals, and communities. And after that number of years of working on those issues, it was time to do something positive and to start rebuilding the infrastructure that we've lost in our rural communities and across America because of the concentration and consolidation in agriculture. So 4 years ago, we started our project. The goal was to build an affordable mobile meat slaughter unit. And we've come to the point where we've been very fortunate to partner with Mike Calicrate, who will introduce himself and his operation. And together we have been able to come to the point where we think we can make this thing a very economical and viable solution for small producers. So Mike, would you like to take over?
Sure, Laura. I had the pleasure of running into Laura's group who sponsored this trailer, in fact owned it and built it, and had some hand in the design on it. But we're pretty excited about this. We've got the Ranch Foods Direct company here in Colorado Springs, and our real missing link was the ability to slaughter the animal. And this is fantastic, where we can actually go to the farm and we can slaughter the animal where they are. And rather than pay the freight on that live animal to the slaughter plant, we're now only having to carry the carcass, which is about 65% of the live weight, to the plant. It's more humane. The meat quality is improved. We leave the slaughter waste behind to be composted and put on the land as a valuable fertilizer. So there's just a lot of cool stuff about this project. We're happy to be involved. We are really about the only operation that I know of that actually produces the animal and now has the ability to slaughter on site and actually sell to the consumer, connect to those restaurants, to connect to these schools with these healthier school lunch programs. This mobile slaughter unit is key to making this work, and I'm just hoping it's going to be repeatable around the country, and we can, as Laura said, start to rebuild this infrastructure.
The key is that it's adaptable. It does all red meat. It doesn't have to just be cattle, and that's a lot of things that people are forgetting. And the other is that we can customize it to fit the needs of the user that's going to be using the trailer to slaughter, and as far as placing different parts of where components go, doors, how large the refrigeration unit is, do you need a hide puller, do you not need a hide puller? So all of those things can be customized to that region, which is very important because no two areas are exactly the same.
Well, I think that's important where Laura talks about fitting the community. Maybe it's a community that can produce hogs and lambs and goats and doesn't have that many cattle, and so it's adaptable. We've gone down. We've picked up these Venatucci heifers this morning that are going to be processed through the mobile unit, and they'll be waiting in the trailer, and we'll bring them one at a time up the alley into the chute where we can capture the animal and restrain them to get a good kill on the animal. We use a captive bolt gun here at the front of the chute, and then that animal then will fall out the side of the chute where we pick it up, we bleed it, and then we go ahead and hoist it into the trailer for skinning, evisceration, and splitting the carcass and cooling. The animal is now outside. It's hanging from a front end loader. The head has been removed. The head then is placed in this rack for inspection. Once the inspector approves this animal as a healthy animal, then we can go ahead and continue to process. And he'll look at other things as well. He'll look at the organs, he'll look at the heart, the liver, and the lungs to make sure this animal doesn't have any pathogens and that it's safe for consumption. These cables that you see here are hooked to some heavy hoists that are on the ceiling, and basically these are hooked to the animal. The animal then is lifted into the trailer, where then it's laid onto this, what we call a skinning rack, where the hide is carefully removed, and the hide then goes out this side door right here into a tote that is on the outside of the trailer. Once the hide is removed, then the animal is hoisted and landed onto the rail, eviscerated. The internal organs are removed, the intestines are removed, and the organs are saved. We save the heart and the liver, and everything else goes out this door again into a tote, where then it will be later composted into fertilizer and applied to some of the land that around here on Benatucci Farm. Now the animal is ready to be split. We split the carcass, we wash it, and we treat it with an acetic acid solution. Spray it down with an acetic acid solution to make sure there's no contaminants on that carcass, and it then is moved on into the cooling section in the trailer. That cooling section will hold about 15 to 20 beef, which is, you know, a pretty good day's kill in one of these trailers. One thing I did want to point out here is this splitting saw. This is a normal splitting saw that you would see in a bigger packing house. And we've adapted this to fit in this trailer. It's on the swing arm, so it's all very easy to handle, and it's got a counterbalance sort of a mechanism to where it's easily moved up and down, and we can do a very precise and quick job of splitting that carcass with this saw.
As you move through the trailer, it goes from dirty on the outside, cleaner, 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 finally the wash right into the cooler, which is the absolute clean area. And that's where the USDA stamp goes on. But we also have accommodations for cleaning, for keeping tools clean. We have a sink. We have hot water on demand at 180 degrees, which is up to USDA requirements for sanitation purposes and for clean down of the trailer. And as well, the tray over to the right is where the organs go, and that is what the inspector also will take a look at. It's a folding tray. Again, we're in a trailer, so we want to maximize our space. This trailer is a full-size reefer trailer. It's a little older one. It's 53 foot by 96 inches wide with the reefer unit on the front. So that was another thing that I felt was important about when we constructed this trailer. We have several different power sources. So we have the reefer on the front, the refrigeration unit, which keeps the middle portion very, very cool. It cools those carcasses very quickly. It was meant originally to keep this whole trailer cool. So we get a really good cool down, which is important for USDA. And then we have our generator, and that is powering our lights and electricity. So if we would have any problems with that going down, our reefer is separate, and it's going to keep the product cold. The other thing we have is a 220 plug on the outside that also, if you're on farm, you decide we just want to plug right on in, we don't need to start that generator up, then you can use all your electricity on farm. It's 3-phase 220. So we've got all these three different separate systems that can be used. Also then it serves as backups, but the most important thing is to keep that product cold and to not lose what you've produced. There is in the nose of the trailer what we call our control room. That's where our hot water on demand is. That's where our 600-gallon water tank is, which water use has been a lot less than we expected per animal. So you can either, if you have your water tested on site on farm, you can hook right up to that water system, or if you're going somewhere where you need to get potable water, you're not sure what that water's like, you can fill the water tank up ahead of time and have that 600 gallons on hand.
But I'd like to look at the possibility of us going to your ranch in Wyoming, Laramie, with the unit at some point, and just do 200 or 300 of them.
Yeah.
But we got to get our market nailed down, knowing we got the market first.
We on our team have a professional HACCP writer, which is the critical point that you've got to have in being USDA inspected. And that is the #1 key here, is that the other adaptability of this trailer is, of course it can be custom, but we have a HACCP writer that will write your plan to get you USDA certified, and that is for free. We have a professional water engineer to help with any local water issues that you may have. We also have an attorney on our team who looks at local regulation, looks to make sure that we're in compliance as we work through that process. And then if you need to have a semi that is connected to your trailer, we also have a professional safety compliance officer who will get you through the DOT process and your licensing. Those are all other considerations. These are all the types of people who are committed to this, not out of to make a buck, but to change the rural landscape and give it back to the people.
Laura is in this to change the food system so it better serves land, animals, and consumers, and puts more dollars back in that family farmer's pocket, and hopefully get a few more folks back into these rural communities living on the land again.